Hi, Thomas Ferreira here, a divorce attorney and mediator in Carlsbad, California. And I wanted to begin today's blog post by thanking you for being here and congratulating you really, because this negotiation stuff is high-level stuff. This is things that I've been trained in. I took some training in law school. I took some training through the National Conflict Resolution Center. But this is high-level stuff. But the thing is, this is stuff that everybody can do. And today, I'd like to teach you a trick that not only works in negotiations, but it works in virtually every difficult conversation that you will have in life, whether it's with a friend, with a neighbor whose dog barks too much and you want to talk to them about it, or anything that you want to have influence over somebody. This is a trick that will get that person over to your side of the table, will unite you with that person against the problems instead of facing off with this negotiating table in between you. It's a lot better way. Now, I call this the curiosity stance. And to illustrate this, think of a normal conversation that you would have with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. And you're talking about, I don't know, where to go to dinner. And she wants to go someplace and you want to go someplace else. And you can't seem to reach agreement. And then it spirals into, well, that's just like you. You're always so rigid. And then the person takes offense and then you're off to the conflict races. Well, here's a way to completely avoid that. You see, what happens is whenever you have a difficult conversation, you're going into that conversation on the defensive. And then when somebody pushes one of your buttons, you tense up inside. You can feel it in your stomach. And your natural reaction is to become defensive, or in many cases, to say something that's going to further push that person over the edge. So what I'm asking you to do is, in that split second where you have not yet said that thing that's going to derail your negotiation, stop a minute, take a breath, and try and find out, despite the hurtful thing that other person said, where are they coming from? As I talked about last time, what are the interests that they have in mind that you can tease out of them? In other words, be curious. For example, my wife wants to spend $150 on a massage, and I don't feel like we have that kind of money. And we don't have that kind of money, but I really need a break. We go back and forth, and we're like the people that take the positions. Perhaps I can ask her, well, talk to me about this massage. Why do you need it so much? If she really feels like she needs this, and it's going to help her so much to be a better wife, and maybe if I get a little out of the deal, maybe it's not so bad to give in on that. And conversely, she could say, well, talk to me about money. What's going on? Well, shoot, I've got some bills to pay, and the mortgage is coming up, and golly, I don't have it in the bank account, and I feel really insecure about that. The way to do this is to ask questions. Be like a newspaper reporter trying to get the story. And you want to find out what happened, right? You want to find out what's going on with them. In this example, the bank account or the need for recreation. The next level, you want to delve into how do you feel? In fact, that's an excellent question to ask. So when you talk about paying for this massage, what's going through your mind? What are you feeling at that moment? Well, gee, I never really thought about it. I guess I feel a little bit afraid and insecure. When you know that, you can talk about what's really going on underneath the surface and have a conversation that takes care of those interests. Now, you may still not spend the money, or you may find some other way to do it, but you're going to start unearthing ways to solve problems that you never even thought were there. So whenever you have a difficult conversation, no matter what it is, you're involved in a divorce negotiation, if somebody says, well, I've got to have the family house. Well, we can't have the family house because I can't afford to buy you out. You're at an impasse. Let's stop the conversation right there and let's find out what's behind that desire. The interest of the children is an important one. The investment that person made in that. If that house has tremendous sentimental importance to that other party, that's a way of increasing the pie. If you give them what they want, you're giving them value, and you can get value in return. That's the way this works. So, anytime you come to an impasse, start asking questions. When you ask questions, the solutions start to present. I've seen this happen over and over in my mediation practice, that when you ask questions, the solutions just seem to appear sometimes out of nowhere. So until next time, love your family, protect your finances, and reach for your future. I'm Thomas Ferreira.